Everybody ready? We'll call this meeting of this public hearing of the Yuma Union High School District 70 Governing Board to order. If you'll all rise. Shelley, would you lead us in the pledge in a moment of silence? Thank you. You may be seated. Okay, this is a public hearing. We have one item. Review of the budget revision for 2021-22. A summary of changes for the revised budget will be presented for review. Ms. Cordery. You're live.
Okay. So good evening, Governing Board. Tonight we have for you our first revision to our budget for 21-22. So if you recall, we had actually temporary budget forms because we didn't have a budget at this time last year when we actually proposed and adopted the budget. And so these do look just a little bit different. If you were to compare our adopted budget for these, there's a little bit different information on there. Not a whole lot, but a couple of places. So these are on the new forms, which make them all perfectly legal. So the changes that we have are pretty minimal, but it has been, again, since our adopted, so since July. So we've had a whole year of changes in student enrollment. We've also had carryover that you'll hear me talk about a lot of different times. So how we closed out the end of the year last year, any remaining funds we've added back in that weren't included in our adopted budget. So on the cover, I will go through this page by page, but I'll be brief, I promise. On the cover, the changes that you have are the tax rates that we were able to update for 2022. So you can see there's a slight change there from 0.2943 total for primary and secondary, and it has gone to 0.3193 for this last fiscal year. Our M&O, right below that, you'll see the overall expenditures. So our maintenance and operation has increased just a little bit over $2.2 million. Our capital has increased $800,000, and the grants have increased approximately $4.5 million overall. And we'll get into those in just a little bit. You'll see where that is. On the contact page, the next page, no changes. And so the next page you have says 1 of 8 at the bottom. This is our maintenance and operation funds. So this is everything that we expend usually in a year or less time. So for this, we have added additional funds to purchase services. Actually, so back to the increase that we had of roughly $2.2 million, you'll see that increase mostly on the purchase services right in the middle under instruction. So you now see $10,996,000, that dollar amount. That is so high because that's where we keep our contingency. If you look on this form, there's not a place for contingency that we talk about every board meeting, and so that's why that's high on that area. So that's where we've put the $2.2 million. And again, that's due to carryover from last fiscal year and change in student enrollment. We're very conservative when we build our budget. It's built off of the numbers from the previous year. So we don't allow for any growth in their numbers when we calculate it for our adoption. And then when we do the revision, then we know the exact numbers, and that's why we come back and we capture that money for that time for those students. On page 2, no changes to that form at all or to that page. Page 3 is our classroom site fund. So that increased just over $250,000 for the same reasons we talked about, student enrollment and the carryover. Page 4 is our capital. So our capital has increased just a little bit over $889,000, again for the same reasons for our carryover and our student enrollment. So you'll see those funds included actually under instruction and property is where we increased that line item. Page 5. So the only change to this, and this is an important one. If you look under, you'll see there's 4 categories. There's unrestricted capital outlay, bond building, new school facilities, and adjacent ways. The only change to this is typically you would see new school facilities be 0. There's now $10 million there. So what I've done is I've moved money from our maintenance and operation, where we see that large carryover on our regular monthly meetings. I've taken 10 million of that and moved it into new school facilities. So that will help pay for all of our startup costs for Summerton. That's salaries, and we have, I believe, 5 years to use that money, and that will not be a problem, I can assure you. But at least it takes it out of that contingency a little bit. So when you see in our, probably not this one, I think the next one, you'll see actually a change because this hasn't been approved yet. We'll move that contingency, it'll be less money for the future. Page 6. Page 6 is our grants and miscellaneous funds. So on the left you see grants. On the right-hand side you see what's called other funds, that's miscellaneous funds. So overall, our grants have increased $4.7 million, again, due to carryover and change in enrollment, but also we have, in some of our grants, we get allocation revisions and extra money that's added to grants towards the end of the year sometimes, so that's another reason that we would see extra funding in there. Yes? Yes. So you would see them on line 17. Where you see $34 million, $34.8 million, those are the ESSER funds primarily. And then page 7 and 8 are just calculation pages, so they tie into how we calculate the M&O and capital funding. And those are the changes that I have for you. We have droves of people here to ask questions, I see.
Does anybody have a question? You've been very clear. Oh, Jackie has a question, sorry. Of course.
It's due to carryover and student enrollment. Did our student enrollment go up?
It did.
Okay, and how much?
So when we adopted the budget, it was built on 10,919 students. So what we are basing this on now, the latest report is 11,104.
Any other questions? Oh, we can't. This is a, no. Yes.
But I appreciate it.
This is a public hearing,
I
information
appreciate your
only.
confidence.
Okay. We'll get to that next meeting. Okay. Is there a motion to adjourn the public hearing? Motion made and seconded to adjourn the public hearing. All in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? We are adjourned except for Mr. Lara's nay. He likes public hearings. And then at 5:15, we will go into our regular meeting. Thank you. This meeting of the Yuma Union High School District 70 Governing Board to order. We will dispense with the Pledge of Allegiance, a moment of silence, as we did that at the public hearing just a few minutes ago. So we'll move on. Thank you all for coming today. Appreciate it. First item, board member reports. Board members may have a discussion about conferences, visitation, legislation, special recognition, donations, etc. Does any board member have anything they would like to say? Yes, Ms. Kravitz.
Thank you. I had the privilege of attending the State Skills USA competition and witnessing firsthand both the dedication of our CTE instructors and leaders, as well as our students' incredible talent and poise. YUHSD is and will remain proud of these students and their projects, and I look forward to continuing being their cheerleader at Nationals in Atlanta next month. So that was very exciting. Thank you so much for that opportunity. And I really also wanted to recognize the tenacity, hard work, and professionalism of our entire staff. Last week was Teacher Appreciation Week, and I'm grateful and proud to be part of a district where so many wonderful people work and lead our children into a bright future. It was also an honor to support our Teacher of the Year nominees and winners at the Teacher of the Year banquet held at the Convention Center last month. I know everyone will continue doing great things within our district and for our students' future. Thank you.
Any other board members? Okay, hearing none, thank you very much. We'll proceed. Next item, Superintendent's Report. Mrs. Thompson.
Thank you, President Townsend, governing board members. Our first item tonight is about our summer learning options, and Associate Superintendent Lisa Anderson is going to speak to that.
Thank you. All the governing board members have a copy of the flyer that has been distributed to our students of the Yuma Union High School District for both the 5 comprehensive campuses and for Vista High School. Registration for summer learning is underway. It will be offered at each of the schools from June 7th through the 24th. If students are receiving transportation to school currently to and from, they will continue to receive transportation. They will also have free breakfast and lunch available. This will give students the opportunity to retrieve learning and along with their credit in the core content areas, the English, math, science, and social studies, if they failed a class. They are expected to attend every day as they work through their courses, and they will have the support of teachers and paraprofessionals. Are there any questions?
One.
Go ahead, Ms. Kravitz.
Thank you. If they take the summer course in the same subject matter that they received a failing mark in, does it actually replace it on the transcript?
It does, because it's in the same academic school year. Yep.
That's great.
Yep.
Thank you.
And also for clarification, it may not be, it just may not be finished. It might not have a failing grade. It just may not have gotten done in that amount of time. So the student doesn't need to technically fail a class in order to attend summer learning.
Okay, thank you.
And again, thank you to all of the staff. Just as a reminder, we've been open all year, every day, coming to school, and our doors have been open and our kids have been coming, but that takes a lot of amazing staff, teachers, school administrators. Every day that a school is open is like opening a little city in every single campus. And it doesn't happen by accident, and there's so many amazing things going on, but I just want to make sure that we understand that summer learning means a lot of people working through the summer. So I continue to dispel the myth that education is only, we get our summers off, et cetera, and the students have awesome opportunity, but they're taking advantage of those opportunities, and I think that speaks to the type of students that come to Yuma Union as well. They do take advantage of those. I want to thank the governing board for your action last meeting, where we are able to hire paraprofessionals and have more staff on hand for our students, because it makes a difference.
And along with the paraprofessionals, support staff, counselors, social workers will be available through the summer months.
Thank you.
Okay. Next on our superintendent's report is our Ready Now Yuma Billboard campaign. I hope you've seen some awesome ones when you're driving around town, and our Chief Communications Officer, Eric Patton, truly does all the heavy lifting with his team of 2 that supports him, as well as his executive assistant, Ms. Spriggle. So thank you, Eric, for coming forward, and he's going to share a little bit about the Billboard campaign.
Thank you, Mrs. Thompson. Good evening, everybody. Before we get started, I did want to point out that we do have one of our Billboard students here that's going to be presenting, Clarissa from Gila Ridge. She was one of the students chosen, so. So this is the 8th year that we have done the Ready Now Yuma Billboard campaign. I've shared about it in the past, so I'll spare some of the nuts and bolts, but I really wanted to talk about the exciting new things with it. For 8 years, it has acknowledged seniors who are on track to graduate, and so that's why the billboard says Gila Ridge class of 2022 is ready, meaning they're college, career, and community ready when they leave in a couple weeks now. It's 12 students, 2 from each of our 6 schools, and in the past, there was a little bit of a different focus about how they were chosen. Over the last 2 years, we've made a concerted effort to choose students who were representative of the 11,000 students in our district. We have students on our boards this year who, in Clarissa's case, for example, is involved in CTE. There are students who are involved in student council, students who are in our special ed program, students who are in our migrant program, students who are in drama, who are athletes. They really cover the gamut. There was a time when a lot of the students that were nominated or selected were among the top 10 in the graduating class. There are some in our, that are up there. They're on track to graduate, but they might be in the top 100. It really is representative of the entire school community. They were selected and nominated not just by principals, which was the case in the past, but they were, the nomination form was given out to counselors, to teachers, to school administrators, and they were sent to my office. Well, again, in the past, that might have just been me and maybe pop into Miss Anderson or Mrs. Thompson or Mr. Brienza's office and say, hey, what do you think? I'm having a hard time deciding between these two. This year we actually got a committee of 9 people at the district office together, again, all in various roles in the district, to go over the nominations, read what their counselors or their administrators or their teachers had to say about them. Several students were nominated 6-7 times by some of their schools, and we got to hear their stories firsthand. And the last part about it, that was really exciting to me, to include all of those people in that selection process. I think it brought a whole new light on it for a lot of people that participated. But my favorite part was that 8 years into this, that the billboards are actually starting to impact students in a way that it never had before. So the students will maybe strive for it, or they'll see the billboards when they're in 8th grade or entering their freshman year around town. They'll wonder what they are. And I'm going to stop talking about it and let a student explain what seeing the billboards 4 years ago meant to him. And this is Enrique from Yuma High School.
I basically begged my grandma for 2-3 weeks to take me to Yuma High. And during one of those drives, I saw a billboard with these 2 individuals, and what really caught my attention was that they had the logo Yuma High. Like, oh, that's the school I'm going to. And I made a comment to my grandma. Oh, I don't know how you get there. I don't know what they did, but I want to be there. You know. And in sophomore year, I saw it again. There were people like, oh, geez, this is like something they do every year. So maybe I do have a shot here. And I started making all these jokes to, specifically my grandma saying, if I put my face there, like, you better invite me to Dennis, the restaurant. As junior year, it became like a serious thing. I was like, you know what, I'm going to take this serious. I'm going to try to work my way up to the billboard. And on my senior year, I really pushed it. I really made sure that everyone here in Yuma High knew that I wanted to put my face in that. At the time, I thought it was like a scholarship or something. And I remember my mentality was, you know what, just don't give me the money. Just put my face there and I'll call it a day. You know, that's the way I want to leave. That's the best memory I want to have of Yuma High. I came here and Mr. Fritz, the principal, gave me the news, like, oh, you've been selected to be a part of the billboard. And I was in shock. I was like, this started as a joke. You know, the idea of me putting my face in the billboard started as a joke. And now it's the thing. You know, so I was freaking out. And the first thing I did, I told my grandma.
That was great.
So that clip of Enrique was one of 12 full-length interviews that we did with the students, just to kind of see what's coming next, what their life was like at our schools over the last 4 years. And I forgot to mention that one of the students was the first time a JROTC student has been chosen to be on the board, and you can see his billboard on 32nd near the base, and he's wearing his uniform. So part of the process is the students writing about a 350-word essay telling their story, and then also conducting those interviews with them. We release the interviews 2 at a time over a 6-day period, the day before or the week before that the billboards were released publicly. And if you guys want to read the stories or see the interviews, you can go to the website. When you go to the homepage, the first thing that you'll see, if you just want to refresh it, Miss Olivas, please. Sorry about that, I spoke too much. Or click the arrow back to the next one.
Perfect.
Or click home. Click the logo. The logo at the top, yeah. Does that work? There we go. So we would click that, and the first thing you'd see on the homepage is the class of 22 is ready. So if we click that logo, when we go there, it'll take us to our Billboard Showcase. So here you can read Enrique's essay or any of the others. Clarissa's essay is on there as well. But all 12 essays are on there. At the bottom of the essay is all of their videos. You don't have to go anywhere else to watch it. You can watch it right on that page. And at the very bottom, if you want to see where all the billboards are located, there's a button to click to see all of the locations. And so if we click this button, it'll take you there. You can see them actually up. For example, the Cibola ones over there by Dance Makers near Sonic on Avenue B. But you get to see a close-up, and you get to see a zoomed-out version of them. And then below that is the actual cross streets where the billboards are located. So if you guys hadn't seen all of them and want to, you would be able to by just checking them out right there. So does anybody have any questions?
Perfect. Thank you.
Thank you.
Obviously, you can see this is another one of Mr. Patton's passion projects, and the deep ownership and never satisfied. Every year it gets bigger and better, and I just appreciate the depth of his leadership and making this so important. So thank you, Mr. Patton. Maybe someday we'll have a billboard for you. I'm afraid to interview you, what you might say. Our next item is another special one. I'm very excited to ask Shannon Carmody up to the podium. In the board agenda, and I've emailed it out earlier to you as governing board members, we have with us a published author of a research paper. It is in the governing board agenda as well again. But Shannon's a special person in our district and now is known way far away from us as well. Shannon, would you like to share a little bit about how you started in this research project?
Yes, so it was a part of my graduate studies, getting my master's degree. It was on the retention of secondary school athletic trainers, and we wanted to figure out what makes an athletic trainer stay in their position for so long. So we interviewed athletic trainers all over the country who had stayed in their position for 10 years or longer and asked them interview questions about why they stayed. Our research, we found that if athletic trainers feel supported through admin, through finances, through their district, if they feel connected to the community as well as the students and athletes, and if they feel secure in their job position. Those were the 3 main themes that we found throughout our research, and I think Yuma Union High School District does a great job of doing all those things so that we as athletic trainers feel supported, connected, and secure in our jobs. Do you have any questions? It was a great accomplishment for me, so thank you for having me.
It's an amazing accomplishment, and doesn't even tell the story of the hours that are put into our athletic programs and the health and well-being of our students and our student athletes, as well as our coaching staff. Our athletic trainers educate coaches as much as the athletes, sometimes more so. Every once in a while, we might have some difficult customers out there that aren't trained like our trainers have been, and they truly are respected healthcare professionals. and they do deep study, and they continue their studies. I'm very proud of our athletic training program in Yuma Union, and I just really thank you for taking us over the top and being published, because that's a big project, and congratulations on your study.
Thank you so much.
Congratulations.
Thank you. Have a great.
And next, no stranger, Miss Laurie Honeycutt. If you would like to come forward, Laurie. I know you've been dying to do this all day because she said I tricked her. Again, our governing board has been notified, as well as Mr. Patton did a very nice press release celebrating the Cornerstone Award for Ms. Laurie Honeycutt. And again, the story can never be told fully. You have to really work with her and know her and be here, because she's here every day before any of us most of the time, and never leaves, it feels like. I don't know how many miles she has on that Suburban, but I'm sure Bart would be happy to let us know. But the Cornerstone Award is a big deal, and I just want to reiterate here that it's a statewide award, and it recognizes local school administrators who do significant work for Skills USA chapters. When we went to Skills USA, the amount of work that Laurie, along with her team, doesn't just end in Yuma Union. They get people to go to Phoenix. We need people from Yuma to go to Phoenix to support Skills USA, and not only people but supplies that actually help to run those contests for not only our students but all students. And that's Laurie and her team really reaching out and asking people from our community. She received this award because she has gone above and beyond the valuable daily contributions to make an extraordinary long-term difference in the lives of students, inspiring confidence in a new generation of workforce leaders. Those are the words in the press release, as well as the words from the Skills USA team. And the growth in Yuma Union, I was looking it up again, just since 2015, growing from 53 CTE programs to 74 currently, or in 22. Our enrollment from 5,097 students to 7,708 students, a 51% growth. And finally, the industry credentials earned by students from 40 in 2015 to 584 in 2022, a 1,360% growth. I know we've heard those numbers before, but just keep in mind that represents people. That's all about students and making a difference in their lives. And I can't think of a person who is more committed to career and technical education than Laurie Honeycutt. And I'm so honored to work with you and to have you on our team and to be your friend. So thank you for being here. And governing board, if you have questions or anything for Ms. Honeycutt, have at her.
Nothing like a farm girl, is there, Laurie? Didn't the board have anything? Congratulations, Laurie. It's very well deserved.
And Laurie, you're welcome to, if you have anything.
Would you like to?
Well, I have to say it wasn't just all me. I have an amazing team that really works super, super hard for our students. So I appreciate everything that they do. When we found out that some of the contests were going to be canceled, we intentionally looked down and said, which ones have Yuma Union students in it? And we said, those are the ones we're going to support. And so our community stepped up to the plate. Many of the firefighters who came to run contests came off of a 24-hour shift, drove to Phoenix, ran the contest, and drove back home. Same for our police department. San Luis supported equally, sending fighters as well as police. And in all the contests that we did, it was because they have a heart for Yuma Union students. So we are very heavily supported by our advisory boards and the businesses in our community. We greatly appreciate that. We couldn't do it without them.
Thank you.
Let me make sure. President Townsend, that concludes my report.
Thank you very much. Moving on, our next item of business is the budget update, the overview of the 2021-2022 Yuma Union High School District internal budget. Ms. Cordery's already up at the podium.
Again. Okay, so all things being equal, we should be about 83% of the way through our budget. And these expenditures are through May 1st of 2022. For our maintenance and operation budget, we have spent $54 million of our $90 million budget. So that comes to about 60%. So you can see we're well below our 83%, which the difference of that, of course, is our contingency that we'll have that we're building up for Summerton. And as we talked about in the budget revision earlier, we'll be moving $10 million out of there to move that to our Summerton funding for maintenance and operation. For our capital, we have spent $2.7 million of a $16.2 million budget, which represents 17% of that. Again, we're saving it for the same reasons for Summerton when it opens, to be able to buy capital items for that school. And then finally, we have our student activities report. You can see that we have had monthly revenue of almost $64,000 and expenditures of $37,000, which gives us an ending cash balance of all the student accounts across the district of $768,000. And for the 21-22 activity, that's $134,000. Any questions?
Ms. Kravitz.
Thank you, Mr. Townsend. My quick question, thank you for always presenting the budget in a very comprehensive, understandable way. I genuinely appreciate that. Once we take the contingency money and we direct it towards Summerton High School,
Yes.
are we going to be able to maintain our expenditures for the upcoming years with the current funding that we have?
The short answer to that is yes.
Okay.
The longer answer is, if you look at the M&O budget, there's an actual line item, you can see $14,883,000. So we have that budgeted in there. So all the other expenditures are covered for the year, and then that's the rainy day fund, if you will, and that's really intended for Summerton. So we're not totally depleting it, because you never know what else is coming down the way. But $10 million of that will be dedicated to Summerton,
Thank you.
and so the rest of our expenditures are covered.
Thank you.
Any other members have a question? Thank you, Ms. Cordery. Our next item, 3.2, career and technical education outcomes from spring competitions. Ms. Thompson, Ms. Honeycutt.
Yes, I'm going to ask our team to come forward for career and technical education, or whoever Laurie's directing to come on up. We had an amazing competition. I think we had over 520 students who participated in career and technical education spring competitions. And it looks like we have an amazing one right up here at the podium. So welcome.
Good evening, Ms. Thompson, President Townsend, superintendents, and governing board members, and the public as well. Thank you for being here. My name is Clarissa Magdaleno, and I am one of 9 Yuma Union High School District students chosen by our peers and members to represent CTSO for the year 2022 to 2023. Over 40,000 Arizona students participate in career and technical student organizations, also known as CTSOs. These dynamic organizations develop academic success through applied academics, promote choice and identification of career options, and foster professional skills in teamwork, communications, human relations, and social interactions. They also encourage excellence in scholarship, build character, promote citizenship, volunteerism, and patriotism, endorse cooperation and cooperative attitudes among all people, and provide opportunities for state, national, and international travel through internships, camps, competition, and leadership conferences. The 9 Arizona CTSOs are as follows: Arizona Thespians, DECA, Educators Rising, FBLA, FCCLA, FFA, HOSA, Skills USA, and JROTC. Now, I've been told by a reliable source that a few of you on this panel also served in CTSOs when you were in high school, so I know you understand the importance of our participation in these professional organizations will have on our future career journey. Yuma Union High School District enrolls 100% of CTE students in their respective CTSO each year within this year's membership, totaling over 7,800, since many students are enrolled in more than one. Today, we are proud to share the many successes of our career and technical education students as they begin preparing for the next step, either state or national competitions, as we watch some highlight from spring competitive events.
We qualified for the last 3 years now, but got canceled for 2 because of COVID.
It's amazing, isn't it? Yuma Union High School District had 521 students participating in the State Spring CTESO events. CTE students are still participating in both JROTC and FFA, and our participation numbers will continue to grow through May and June, and hopefully our winning streak will continue too. Yuma Union High School District students placed or medaled in 164 CTSO events, and 35 different individual or team winners captured first place or gold level and will advance to national competition this summer. Finally, Yuma Union CTE will also send 58 student leaders to focus training as they transition from CTE ambassadors to CTE leaders or state officers such as myself. Now, Superintendent Thompson, thank you for allowing me the opportunity to report on career and technical education, student successes, and our busy summer plans. We appreciate you and the governing board members' continued support and especially your visit to the crazy competition floor. It means a great deal to each student and advisor. We look forward to having you cheer us on at the national level this summer. Now, I would also like to thank Ms. Honeycutt and Mr. Champagne because they have been awesome and instrumental to my success as well. Now, can I answer any questions from governing board members or any of the superintendents?
Any governing board member have anything? You do a remarkable job. You're amazing. Thank you.
Thank you.
Do you have someone else with you this evening?
Nope, just, oh, yeah, actually, I do
nobody
actually.
important.
I have my parents with me. I have my mom, Susanna Magdaleno, and my dad, Martin Magdaleno, and they're, very supportive. As you can tell, they've been sitting in every single one of my events, supporting me and cheering me on. So yes, I do have someone with me this evening.
Thank you for joining us this evening as well. We appreciate you so much.
Yeah.
Thank you very much.
Yeah, thank you.
Okay, moving on to the more boring stuff.
Right?
First read of policy. All of these are first read and will be presented at a future governing board meeting for consideration. And then what we have a couple people here for, the call to the public. Call to the public Any person wishing to speak may present the information at this time only. All presentations are limited to a maximum of 3 minutes and a maximum of 15 minutes on each subject. Before you begin to speak, please identify yourself by clearly stating for the record your name. Comments by members of the governing board in response to any public comment will be limited to asking staff to review the matter or requesting rescheduling of the matter for further consideration at a later date. I have 2 requests. You're both on the same subject, so Tom, you want to let ladies go first and Ms. Thrower? Okay, or come together. You can tag team us.
My name is Gay Thrower. I'm the chair of the Yuma High School Athletic Hall of Fame. Over the past 10, 15 years, we have been inducting members. One of those members is Bob McClendon, and he, as you all know, has just passed away. We would like to provide some kind of long-standing memorial to him at Yuma High School. And Tom came up with some ideas, and the Hall of Fame committee completely supports that. And I'm going to have Tom give you the details on it.
Thank you.
Thank you, Gay, and President Townsend, members of the governing board and administration. My name's Tom Tyree, and I'm just an old basketball coach, okay? And but Gay and I are both here tonight to represent a large number of former basketball athletes, coaches, students, and colleagues in support of requesting of the governing board the authorization or the permission to name the basketball floor at the Yuma Union High School gymnasium after Bob McClendon. As we know, and Gay just mentioned, we lost Bob here recently. Bob was a giant in education, and you're all aware of all of his accomplishments as an elected official serving on the Arizona Board of Regents. The list is just goes on way beyond the amount of time that any of us could spend to try to outline those with the governing board. But if Bob were here, and he told this to me many times, and his wife recently did as well, I think his greatest accomplishment was that of being the head basketball coach at Yuma High School for 19 years. During that time, he accumulated the most victories of any basketball coach in the long history of Yuma Union High School. And I had the good fortune of not only getting to play with him, but getting to coach with him as his assistant coach. And I will tell you today that if it were not for him, I would not be standing here today. So we are here to respectfully request that you consider our request to name the floor after Bob McClendon. We have, just a very short amount of time, already received 360 petition signatures of people from in the community and people that are former players of his that live all over the country that all support that, and we're here to make that request to you.
Thank you. As you know, we can't respond, but I'm going to make a request to Mrs. Thompson. I know we've got policies and guidelines on naming facilities. If we could be presented with those at a future date so we know how to proceed or whether to proceed on this.
We will. We will do that next month.
Thank you very much.
I'd like to add one piece of information. We are really hoping that this can be expedited and we can have that floor painted and ready to go for fall sports. So we're not putting this off another year. And the Hall of Fame will also be coming to you next month with some discussion about memorializing for Curly Culp. But we did not want to interfere with Bob's, so his is first on the agenda. Next time you'll hear something about Curly Culp. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Okay, was there anybody else that would like to address the board? That's all the call slips I have. Okay, seeing none, we'll proceed. Moving on to consent items. Adoption of items of routine nature and those that normally do not require deliberations on the part of the board. A board may pull items which will be discussed and voted upon separately. Is there a motion or any items that need to be pulled?
I move that we, the governing board, accept the items as submitted. Sorry, I forgot the word. Smart.
The motion has been made by Ms. Kravitz and Mr. Lara, and I'll substitute to approve the consent items as presented.
Thank you.
Is there any questions or discussion? Hearing none, we'll proceed to vote. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries unanimously. Moving on to item 6.1, consideration to accept donations. I've got a long list I will read. To Cibola High School, Mr. Levi Storms donated Battle Skin alcohol wipes to Cibola High School Athletic Department. These wipes will be used to clean and disinfect the equipment. This donation is valued at $540. Miss Linda Willits of the Yuma Camera Club donated a Canon camera kit to Cibola High School's digital photography class for students to check out. The donation has a value of $450. JJ Flooring Group donated 500 square feet of flooring to Cibola High School. The new flooring will be placed in classroom 112. The value of this donation is $1,090. The Arizona Department of Education, through Donors Choose, donated items to Cibola High School with an estimated value of $2,180. The items donated include the following: plastic tote bins, folding exercise mat and exercise balls, one clarinet mouthpiece, and reeds for various music instruments. To Gila Ridge High School, Mr. Paul Jones donated various concessions items to Gila Ridge High School class of 2022 to sell for fundraisers. Estimated value of this donation is $200. Mr. Levi Storms of Game 1 Athletics donated one Shoot Vengeance football helmet and one Shoot Professional Series football helmet to Gila Ridge High School's football program. This donation is valued at $1,199. Miss Christine Frame donated keychain supplies to Gila Ridge High School's National Honor Society. These supplies will be used to make keychains to sell as a fundraiser at graduation. Estimated value of the donation is $60. The Arizona Department of Education, through Donors Choose, donated items to Gila Ridge High School with an estimated value of $6,161.38. The items donated include the following: plants, math kits, headphones, projector and speakers, fluorescent lamp, 2 iPads, equipment for use in driver's education class. To Kofa High School, the Arizona Department of Education, through Donors Choose, donated items to San Luis High School. Well, it says Kofa, but then it says San Luis, so I'm not sure, with an estimated value of $821.68. The items donated include the following: various classroom supplies, portable lap desks. To San Luis High School class of 2022 club donated 3 full color backdrops with stands and bags to San Luis High School. This donation will be used for graduations and school events. The value of this donation, $1,696.41. Mr. John Klingenberg donated a single shank international chisel to San Luis High School's Agri-Science Room number 1314. This will be used for the primary tillage of the land lab. Estimated value of this donation is $400. Mellon Farms donated tillage on San Luis High School's land lab. This includes road time disc twice, chiseled twice, plowing and laser leveling, which will prepare the land lab for production. The estimated value of this donation is $1,950. The San Luis High School class of 2022 donated 3D wood letters and numbers to San Luis High School for use at school events. This is valued at $600. The Arizona Department of Education, through Donors Choose, donated items to San Luis High School with an estimated value of $528. The items donated include binders and tab dividers. To Yuma High School, Ms. Gail Overton donated Laser Focus World magazines to Yuma High School science classes. Estimated value of donation is $50. To the Yuma Union High School District, Mr. Eric Patton donated school color themed balloons to Yuma Union High School District to be used for Ready Now Yuma scholarship presentations. This donation is valued as an estimated value of $90. It is recommended that the governing board accept the above listed donations. Is there a motion?
So moved, Mr. President.
Motion has been made by Mr. Gonzalez and seconded by Mr. Lotta to approve the donations. Any questions or discussion?
I have one thing, if I may.
Yes, go ahead, Ms.
I was amazed a few months ago when we went to a second page of donations, and now we are almost at a third page of donations. And that is just for 1 month, and so I applaud everyone who donates to our schools. It's wonderful. Thank you.
Any other questions?
I'm going to recuse myself from the vote.
Mhm.
Do you want to? Okay. Ms. Mellon is going to recuse herself from this vote. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries 4-0 with 1 recusal. Item 6.2, consideration to approve the revised 2021-22 compensation package. It is recommended the governing board approve the revised compensation packet for the 2021-22 fiscal year. Ms. Mellon, you can now.
You ready? I'm going to make a motion. Let me get to that
Oh.
page. No, wait. Am I at the
Oh,
right
we're
one?
doing the
Sorry, we're
compensation.
doing the
I'm ahead of
compensation.
myself. Ms.
Okay,
Thompson, do you want to go into this first?
Thank you.
Sure. This particular item for the compensation package is we've recommended to the governing board adding the executive director for the interdisciplinary arts program. We had a special study session about this. It is TBD what the name will be, so that will ultimately come back should you approve this evening, but that's the purpose for this particular revised compensation package.
Now, is there a motion?
I move that we, the governing board, approve the revised compensation packet for the 2021-2022 fiscal year.
I second.
Motion made by Ms. Mellon, second by Ms. Kravitz, to approve the 2021-22 compensation package. Is there any questions or discussion? Hearing none, proceed to vote. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries unanimously. Item 6.3, consideration to approve the list of hard-to-staff positions for school year 2022-23 for the referral payment program. Is there a motion?
I move that we, the governing board, approve the 2022-23 list of hard-to-staff positions eligible for the referral payment program.
Okay. Motion made by Ms. Kravitz, second by Mr. Lotta, to approve the list of hard-to-staff positions for the school year 2022-23 for the referral payment program. Would you like to add anything, Ms. Thompson?
So this was a really neat program. I believe Ms. Cordery brought this concept to us, and it's proven to help in the recruitment and retention process. So by recognizing our hard-to-staff areas, we also have teachers, we have teacher referrals that come to us from staff. And should those people stay, and there's more information in the packet, but should those people stay, our folks that referred them to Yuma Union High School District receive payment as recruiters, so to speak. So the folks you can see here, we have 4 teachers, 3 were appropriately certified that were actually, or 5 teacher referrals that came from our current staff, 4 teachers, and 3 were appropriately certified. So the people who referred them have received their first payment, and the second payment will be made to them in June.
Any questions or discussion? Hearing none, we'll proceed to vote. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries unanimously. Item 6.4, consideration to approve the 2021-22 budget revision. Now, Ms. Mellon.
Okay. I move that we, the governing board, approve the budget revision for 2021-2022.
I second that.
Motion made by Ms. Mellon, seconded by Mr. Gonzalez to approve the budget revision for 2021-22. We've been through it, so no need for any more information unless a board member has a question. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries unanimously. Next item, 6.5, consideration to approve the 2022-23 compensation package. It is recommended that the governing board approve the employee compensation package for the 2022-23 school year, including placement salary schedules, supplement salary schedules, and benefits. Is there a motion? Then we'll get.
I move. I so move.
Second.
Motion made by Ms. Kravitz, second by Ms. Mellon. Ms. Cordery,
I'm back.
you're back.
So, as you well know, we try to get contracts out before spring break. We also really enjoy having a budget to be able to decide what raises would be for that. So, of course, that hasn't happened yet. And so we've waited for a long time, and we've made our employees wait for as long as we possibly can at this point. They've been very good, very patient with us. But we've had to now make a recommendation of what we can do for compensation. So we're kind of going a little blind here with, I have full faith that we can cover and keep our commitments, but because of our contingency that we have. But we have, we're making a proposal to our governing board tonight regarding raises. And that proposal would be administrative. Okay, so we have three groups: classified, certified, administrators. So to start with, we're taking our administrative support salary group and dividing that into two groups. There's a reason for that. So we have grades 1 through 5. Those folks will be getting, depending on if they are certificated or not, they'll be getting the raise that the classified get or the certified get, depending on their certification. Most of those folks fall in the classified, just so you know. And then we take our administrative support staff, or administrative staff that is grade 6 or above, and they will actually be getting, the recommendation is to not give them an actual raise, but to allow them to have performance pay similar to what the teachers get. So it would be matched by the dollar amount that the teachers get for performance pay and menu item money, which is flexible every year, so we don't have a flat dollar amount, and so it will not go into their contract every year like a raise does, but it gives them the opportunity for performance pay twice a year. So they would get paid by semester. They're eligible by semester, so if somebody comes mid-year, they would be able to potentially get the second payment if they weren't here for the first payment. Just like our teachers, we're switching to our teachers to be able to do that. So in order to qualify for that, we are doing something very similar to what we're changing our Prop 301 committee to have performance measures. We're all being required, if you should agree, we're all going to be required to have performance measures that we'll be held accountable for, that we have to meet. If we don't meet them, we don't get the payment because it is performance-based. So having said that, and we can come back to questions on that if you have that, but then we'll move into our certificated staff. Our recommendation is 3% for our certificated staff, and classified would be a flat $2,000. So the reason for that is typically a flat dollar amount is more of an advantage to our classified staff. Certificated benefit more from a percentage. Of course, it depends on what those amounts are, but that's why we don't want to do a flat across the board this year of doing like all 3%, for example. There's more benefit to each employee group to do that. Then, on top of all of that, and that was all a mouthful, by the way, on top of all of that, because we don't have a budget, and there's rumors that we may get anywhere from 2%, which is the bare minimum that we would get for cost of living, basically, all the way up to, it could be 9.4% that we would get to our M&O budget, depending on which budget you follow and which one gets traction. And more than likely will be something completely different when they pass it, but we do know there's that range. So not wanting to totally ignore that portion that we could be getting extra money than what we're giving in raises right now, we have come up with the fact that if we would get 7%, so we want to break even. We want to be able to get the money that we're borrowing back from our contingency because we are taking a risk to do that. We want to be able to break even if there's money above that, which would be at our 7% level. If we were to get 7% in M&O, an increase from the state for the budget, then we would give every employee, every eligible benefited employee, classified, certified administrator would get an additional $1,000 that would go into their base salary. So that's a lot. I'm sure you have questions.
You really complicate things.
Yeah,
Do you
that's
stay
what
up
our
at night
attorney-
doing this?
I've still been dealing with him tonight.
Okay. Yes, Ms. Kravitz.
My question is about the performance pay aspect for administrators. They did not have a choice to opt in or opt out of that.
So they don't get a choice to do that, but it's just like a teacher. The teacher doesn't get that either. Your choice really is if you choose not to do a performance, if you don't set any sort of performance goals or you don't meet them, then you don't get that payment. That's your choice.
Perfect. And that leads me to my second follow-up question, which is does the individual set their performance goals?
Yes.
Okay,
With their supervisor.
okay.
They work closely with that and others. We've been working as a team trying to develop these, and it is not easy, I'm just here to tell you.
Right. Yeah.
It is really hard to come up with those, but we've all been working and because we want them to be meaningful, we want them to have something to do with our work that we do. It's not meant to make this an excessive amount of work for everybody on top of what they already do, but it has to have meaning, and we have to have benefits, and it has to be results-based as well.
Mhm. Thank you.
Yes, Mr. Gonzalez.
For the performance pay, the amount will be pretty much the same across the board for all for the ones that are getting the performance pay.
Yes,
Pretty
it
much.
won't be prorated, so it'll be an all-or-nothing kind of thing.
So just to be clear, the certificated teacher receives Prop 301 performance pay. That's a
what I thought.
legislative action. Performance pay for administration is maintenance and operations. We aren't using money from Prop 301.
That's what I.
Yeah,
Yeah.
so it's a separate. Mhm.
That's an absolutely very good point to make. And the other thing is, so it used to be Prop 301 was in 3 buckets. And so you had teacher compensation, you have performance pay, and you have your menu item funding. We chose as a district, so now they've made the laws so that it's all one big pot of money. We've chosen to keep those 3 separate like we used to, and we are well within our rights to do that. But in order to do that, I just want to be very clear. We're not talking about teacher compensation. We are not matching that out of M&O for our administrators. We're talking about performance pay, and we're talking about the menu item money that they get. And the teachers also get those in 2 different payments each semester. 1 payment. Both of those menu items and performance are combined, but they get those payments each semester, and that's what we're talking about, that we would match for performance pay for administrators out of maintenance and operation.
Any other questions? Thank you, Ms. Cordery.
Yes.
Okay, if there's no more further questions, we'll proceed to vote. The motion is to approve the employee compensation package for the 2022-23 school year, including payment salary schedules, supplemental salary schedules, and benefits.
I'd like to make a motion to approve, motion as stated.
We've already got the motion's on the floor.
Oh, I'm
Yes,
sorry.
the motion's on the floor. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries unanimously. Going to item 6.6. Discussion and possible action, proposed issues for consideration for the 2023 political agenda. This would be something that we would go to Arizona School Boards Association, present to them as our wish list for next year's legislative session. I think the last several years we've pretty much sent the same list, and I don't think any of them have been accomplished.
The list provided in your packet is the same from 2022, which was pretty similar to 2021. And again, these are legislative issues that ASBA moves forward on behalf of districts that support it. We did support all of these issues previously, and we have had delegates go in the past. That's not a requirement, but just for background.
So board, what's your pleasure? I think it was a year ago this month, expressed our displeasure with ASBA in a letter that we never received a response to.
Correct.
Mm-hmm.
We can take no action if you deem that appropriate. Okay, hearing nothing, I guess we will take no action. So that leads us to the next, which kind of piggybacks. Consideration to select delegate and alternate delegate to the ASBA Delegate Assembly, which is scheduled for September 10th, 2022. So we always have sent a delegate, and I believe we've always sent a delegate.
I don't think we sent one last year. We had delegates, but we did not go.
Okay. So what's your pleasure on this? In case anybody goes, we at least have a voting delegate, would be the upside.
That happens during the Arizona conference, right? That's
The
when
law
they do
conference.
The law
Well,
conferences.
although it's the Saturday following, sometimes it's like, it's a long week, yeah.
Would anybody like to go as a delegate?
It's not,
Look that way. Look that way. Look that way.
Mr. Gonzalez, you appear to have a desire to go as a delegate.
because I
If you're going to go, I'll,
delegate before, but
yeah.
but that happens during the Arizona law. If it
Yes.
if it happens during that time, yeah, I'll do it.
Okay, I'll nominate Mr. Gonzalez to be delegate.
I will second that.
Does anybody want?
Thank you.
Okay,
Thank you
all
for-
in favor, say aye. Aye. Opposed? Okay. Do we want an alternate delegate? The alternate delegate really doesn't have any authority unless you can't go. So, anybody else planning on attending? We can leave it at that. Okay. Move on. Thank you, Mr. Gonzalez.
Yes, thank you.
Next item, call for executive session, ARS 38-431.03A2 and ARS 15-843F. Discussion or consideration of records exempt by law from public inspection. It's an expulsion. Is there a motion to go into executive session?
So moved.
I second.
Motion made by Ms. Mellon, second by Ms. Kravitz, go into executive session. All in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? We will recess, go into executive session, then come back out. Thank you all for attending. Doesn't look like many of you want to stay around for us to reconvene, so.
Guys do.
We are back in session. Jackie needs to sign those. Next meeting of the board is Wednesday, June 8th, right here, 5:15. Unless there needs to be something between now and then you'll be notified. Is there a motion to adjourn? All in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? Even Mr. Lara voted for it. It was unanimous.